Now let's go around the league where we got our 3 items each, and I know you got a good one that you've talked about before, and I got something to shoot it down with. So what's your first item of the week?
There's no way you can shoot this down. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raheem Morris, one of the youngest coaches in the NFL. I believe he should be nominated for Coach of the Year, despite the fact that they're not going to the playoffs. When you look at the division they're in, they're arguably in the toughest division in the NFL. They're the only division that had 3 teams with double-digit wins. I mean, this guy has turned this team around in 2 years. He started 10 rookies. Do you hear me? 10 rookies, and they still went 10-6, and the future looks bright. I really like what he did. He let the team know that he was confident. He made it public that he felt he was the best team in the NFC South. I really, really like what's going on in Tampa Bay, and I think he should be nominated. I didn't say win, because Bill Belichick should win that award, but I do think he should be nominated for Coach of the Year, and I am desperate to hear how you're going to try to shoot that down.
They beat one team with a winning record. That was New Orleans in the last one. If the Texans had played their schedule, Texans might be 10-6. But I agree with you. He did do a good job. Mark Dominic, their GM, he and Raheem Morris have been there working behind the scenes for years. They both got promoted. Their jobs were on the line this year. I thought they did a really, really good job. And if they'd have played in another division, they'd be in the playoffs. But like you said, that's a tough one, and that's the one the Texans are playing next year. Now, mine is this. Guess who is the only player in the Tennessee Titans organization who did not show up for their last meeting that every player is required to show up for, even those on injured reserve?
Kerry Collins.
No. I'll give you another guess.
Same position, guy from Houston.
He did. He didn't show up. Vince Young didn't show. They're saying that Vince may have already met with Bud Adams in Houston, and Mike Reinfeldt and the guy that runs everything, Steve Underwood, met with Bud in Houston, and they told him, Jeff Fisher says he's not going to come back if Vince is the quarterback, and Bud loves Vince. He's going to pay Vince $12 million, and Jeff Fisher will not be back with that team, I truly believe.
Okay, so that explains it. You just explained your own question. Why would you go meet with the head coach when you're rubbing elbows with the owner in Houston?
That is not the way you do it. You know it.
I know, I'm joking.
Now, what do you got next?
The next thing I have, Oakland's improvement. And with the way they've turned their season around, I'm confused at the rumors that Tom Cable may be fired. At the time of taping today, he has not been fired, but there's just rumors swirling around that he won't last the offseason, and I just don't understand it. You talk about a team that won every single game in their division. They went 8-8. They did miss the playoffs, but it looks like with the injection of Darren McFadden playing the way he was supposed to be playing, the quarterback is actually a decent quarterback in Jason Campbell, and they have some young receivers and Jacoby Ford and some guys on defense, Richard Seymour. They look like they're going in the right direction, and for them to get rid of Cable and start from scratch, I don't understand it. Oakland's been the laughingstock of the NFL for the last decade, it seems, and now they're finally to get some respect. Again, they won out the division. That's one of your goals as a player. Before training camp, we would sit in a team meeting, and you would have about 6 or 7 goals that the head coach goes through, and one of those goals is win the division, beat everybody in your division. They did that. If they could just win 2 or 3 more games outside their division, they're going straight to the playoffs. So I don't understand why they're contemplating making a change.
There's only one reason, Al Davis. Al's got one foot in the grave right now, and I tell you what, you know how long he waits? He waits till after everything else is done. Maybe Tom Cable will convince him they're on the right track, but that would be stupid to fire him considering everything they got going on. Rebuilt offensive line, great young talent, wide receiver, good enough quarterback, and improving defense, and I believe the second best running game in the league with 3 really good running backs. So I think for Tom Cable's sake, Al ought to rethink that decision. Now we vote, 2 of us in each city vote on the official AP All-Pro team this week. And if Arian Foster is not the running back, how foolish are we going to look?
Very foolish. And I know you won't look foolish because I know you're going to vote and do the right thing. But the fact that he's a backup in the Pro Bowl makes you wonder if it's because it's his first breakout year, people are overlooking it. But when it comes to the All-Pro voting, like you said, it's done next week. So you've seen him for the entire season. You have to make this guy the #1 running back.
Well, I'll tell you why we're going to get it right, because we're not players voting. The players didn't understand everything that he led the league in, including first downs. So I think he will be first team, and he might even get some votes for Offensive Player of the Year because he's led the league in rushing, yards from scrimmage, touchdowns, rushing, first down, almost 5 yards a carry.
So basically you're saying you're smarter than the players.
Yes, definitely, and the coaches, and except the fans.
Good for you.
Now, last but not least on your list,
the hated or loved Dallas Cowboys. What's next for the Cowboys? Jason Garrett, I do believe he earned that head coaching job. He will get it when it's all said and done. They went 5-3 while he was the head coach. The 3 games they lost, a total of 7 points. I mean, that's awesome. He was doing that with a backup quarterback. By the way, I know this won't happen, but with the way John Kitna played, I believe there should be an open competition for the quarterback job next year in training camp. We all know it's not going to happen. Kitna's 38 years old, but he did solidify himself as the backup quarterback, and they have so much depth on that team. I think with all the vacancies that happened during the season and now after the season, this is the best job to walk into. It's only a year removed from a playoff victory. They won the division last year. All the talent is still there. When you look at them on paper, I mean, you don't know what you need to improve on. I mean, the talent is there. They could draft for depth. Maybe they could draft a linebacker to get ready for replacing Keith Brooking, who's in his 13th year. But other than that, I think that this team is set. If they have the right leadership, they're going to be tough to beat.
There's a lot of speculation in the media. They're going to get rid of a lot of their veteran players who have been key contributors in recent years because of either money or because they're tired of their attitude. They think it's loser's attitude and not winning. Now, my last item is Tom Brady. He has solidified his hold on the MVP award. A lot of people thought, well, Michael Vick. Michael Vick has played 10 games, the season's 16 games. Tom Brady's played 16. He's going to win that vote in a landslide. And then you watch Michael Vick, he'll be voted comeback player of the year.